Bam! What up, good people? How y'all doing out there? Y'all know who it is. It's me, your homegirl, Ladosha Wright, aka Key Lolo. We are gearing up to get ready for our, I think it's gonna be like our sixth African Know Thyself think tank. And so it is officially 3 o'clock. So we are here at the Golden Ciphers located at 4450 Cedar Road here in Cleveland, Ohio. And so we're going to have a wonderful, healthy discussion about plantation beauty. And so we got Cheryl. She's waiting in the green room. And so we're going to be getting things started as our guests arrive. So, just sit tight and relax and, enjoy. Nothing's happening on the screen, but we're going to be getting started. Chrissy is going to be, monitoring the computer here. And so I think that's pretty much it. Don't forget to share the stream. So we're pretty much recording it so people can see it post the live event. And I think we got that going. So what's up, Rotina? How you doing out there? So we're still waiting for people to come in, and I'm gonna call Cheryl and tell her we're just waiting. So y'all just sit back and watch the scene. Nothing's going on here. People will be coming in momentarily. Okay. I'm stepping out. I'll be popping up there every now and then. I'm trying. Where's the chat? On YouTube. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've also right, but I've never told her that I had it yet. She's just always following. So I am enough cards. So sorry. You're serious, but I didn't know that I had it. Okay, when I do it, I'll call you as well. No, come back here. No, I was just using my social security number. What I just said was diversity management group. I think I did this on diversity institute because when you go back and look at my stuff, I think I did this along with diversity institute. But I think I dissolved educational concepts just to continue. I think I can do anything with it because it wasn't LLC, it wasn't, it's just so right. All right. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to be further along than I was. Yep. Shazam! What's up? All the chat getting full. Y'all get ready. We're going to have a great discussion. We're just waiting for some people to get started. This, again, is I think this is actually like our sixth African Know Thyself think tank. The topic today is all about plantation beauty. So we have our panelists. It's going to be myself. That's Dr. Spritz. Wave to him, Dr. Spritz. Hey, Dr. Spritz, myself. Kevin Hubbard is going to come through. And then we're going to be bringing Cheryl Morrow into the chat. And we've got just a wonderful lineup on this topic of plantation beauty, something that a lot of people are not quite sure, don't know that much about. So we hope today to kind of enlighten everybody. And, you could drop your questions in the chat. We have this broken down in two parts, by the way. So the first part is going to be about 45 minutes or so, give or take. Pam Hubbard is the founder of the Golden Ciphers, and she is going to be our moderator. So you'll see Chrissy will kind of be swinging that computer to and fro so y'all can see what's going on. We are here inside the lovely Golden Ciphers. This is I'll have Brother Anthony come over to he ain't back here. A little bit about the Golden Ciphers, which has been around in Cleveland. Oh my goodness. Probably at least at least 25 to 30 years for sure. And this is one of Cleveland's oldest, most reputable, most reliable African-centric youth program. And you could just tell by the inside here how things are looking extremely African-centric. And they do all types of rites of passage. They do 3D printing, all types of arts, reading, just a wonderful, wonderful program. And so Pam and I went to college together. So this is how we met each other. And she's just like my sister from another mister, if you will. So we just kind of always work together here. Oh, here she is. Come on over here, Pam, and say something to the people. Y'all come to chat. Well, the chat is kind of full. What's happening? There
Hello,
she is.
family. How y'all doing?
That's right. We got Sister Pam is in the house. Tell everybody a little bit about Golden Ciphers.
Golden Ciphers is an African-American grassroots organization designed to assist in reconnecting our family structures and rebuilding our communities/villages. We work with youth, adults. I started in my living room with 23 years old with no money on St. Clair. 23 years ago. Yeah, so don't let anybody tell you what you cannot do with your dreams and stuff and things that you have to do. I've been knowing Ladosha for years. We were at Beach Brook together and stuff like that. I'm also a licensed cosmetologist. Yeah, I don't do hair, but I've had my license over 30-something years. But keep that. My little joke is I'll be a good shampoo girl somewhere because I know how to manipulate your scalp. Everybody don't know have to know how to do hair. And this is our second time doing this together, and I'm grateful. And yeah, welcome everybody.
Rashida is in the chat. She said, "Hey Pam,
what's up, family? Hey girl."
Yes, we got Cheryl sitting there. We're gonna bring Cheryl. You can say what's up to Cheryl. Cheryl, like where we at? We're gonna bring Sister Cheryl on there. Here we go. There she is. What up, Sister Cheryl?
What's happening?
There she is. There she is.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. All right. We got the one and only, the hair oracle. So Cheryl, meet Pam, meet Cheryl. We're hosting here, just sharing with us about Golden Cipher. So talk to them a little bit about just some of the programming that you guys offer.
So we're getting away from the word programming because we've been programmed to get death. And because this is Black history, we've been programmed so much. So we're looking at different words like offerings or other things. We're trying to find some other language for that so we could deprogram ourselves so that we could be our authentic self. That's one thing. But we have 12 to 18-year-olds we work with. We have Black Butterflies, that's all females. Then my son Anthony started the Young Men Emerge program, all males. Now Wednesdays we have EET, Entrepreneur and Employment Training, so we can teach them how to do things. We have 3D printing, silk screen, a lot of different things so they can learn how to make money for themselves and to make money for us as well.
I'm gonna go through your 3D stuff on.
Let's see. What else? We're in schools. We've been in the detention center. We've been since the old juvenile detention center. We do work in the prisons as well. And we're about reentry. We're about reuniting our families together. So please, our programs are free. There's no charge. There's no, so just if you have children, grandchildren, or whatever, holler at us like 216-513-7870. But just look up Golden Ciphers. Look up Golden Ciphers. We'll put the information in the chat.
Can you repeat that number one more again? Chrissy's going to drop it in the chat. And this is some of the items made by the youth from the 3D printing. You can't see it, but it's very intricate. With some medunetter, aka hieroglyphs, is in there.
The Ankh, and see, people don't know that this is the male, the female, this is the male, this is fallopian tubes. 120, 120, 120, 360 degrees of power. That's all in all of us. So.
Oh, okay. She done went there on that one. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we got some Adinkra symbols here.
Gentlemen, except for God, I fear no one.
All right, okay. And nothing like some love. She got one of the 7 principles of the Nguzo Saba.
Imani, which means faith. And inside the box, it has occupation, relationships, life, religion, and self. And know thyself, and to thy own self be true.
That's how it's going down. All right.
And at 216-513-7870, that's my cell number. But everything that we're talking about right now has absolutely everything to do with hair. It has to do with Black history. It has to, because our hair, you'll learn about, we have some powerful speakers And Sister Morrow is like one of right. She's one of
Yeah,
the speakers,
yeah,
right?
yeah, she's gonna
So
be,
they're
yeah.
gonna drop the bomb, let you know how everything is everything. Back in like that's old school stuff, like everything is everything, and how hair connects to everything that we're doing, Black history and all of that. So peace.
Oh, what was that?
That's it.
Yeah. But that go Gwen right there. Ask Gwen.
Okay.
All right, y'all just come on, just settle on, nestle on land. If you was down here and at the actual Go to Ciphers, today we have to help, you guys relax and enjoy yourselves. We got free snacks. We got some free popcorn, hot dogs. We got some pasta, water. It's all for the free. We got a nice marketplace with some items from. Can you bring one items over from? We got an item coming through from West Africa. We have some backpacks. All the proceeds are going to go back to, in case you guys didn't know this, let me just bring this right on up here. Aha, the Wright Library. That's right. So all the proceeds from the book bag sales are going to go back to the Wright Library of the Gay and Girl Skills Academy. And so here are some of the wonderful backpacks that we're going to have for sale right there. Pretty cool. And then we also have some, what are these called? Shoulder bags? Cross body bags, excuse me. And your traditional kente cloth. All right. So there you have it there. All right, guys. So you guys just sit back tight and relax. And we're going to be getting this program started momentarily. And all right. Any questions? Remember, drop them in the chat as we go through. And Chris is going to be our moderator in the chat. All right. And then Cheryl, if you have to mute your screen and come back, you're more than welcome to come back out and come back in. Okay. All right, guys. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take us out the screen for a minute, Cheryl, and then we'll come back in. Okay. All right. right, and if you wanna, I'm gonna do the welcome and get us going. All right, okay, so thank you guys so much for coming out. This is our actual, believe it or not, this is our sixth African Know Thyself think tank. We've been hosting them, I think, for a little while now. And so my name is Ladosha Wright, and just a little bit of history about the African Know Thyself think tank. We started these inside the Reverend Design Team Hair Salon, and they are pretty much inspired by my participation in think tanks back in the age of maybe late 90s with Kawanza Kunjufu, Brother Khalid Muhammad, Pam and I, we were in college back in the day. UMADOP, they would host these conferences, and there would be these think tanks. And these scholars in the community would host these think tanks, and we, the people who worked in the community, would attend these think tanks, and they would pretty much give us inspiration and direction of what we could do to solve the problems in our communities. And Pam will definitely share with you a little bit about the Golden Ciphers, and she was able to, address some issues in the community. And then myself, my job back then as an outreach worker was in family reunification, and then I opened up the Reverend Design Team Hair Salon to take that outreach into the community a little bit more to help people understand how to love themselves through their hair. So that's where the inspiration for the think tanks came out as we do them here at the salon. And people that come to the salon, they have worked in various capacities in the community. And, everybody's known for complaining. It's too much crime, it's too much this, it's too much that. But rarely do we have solutions. And so one of the biggest challenges today facing African Americans, of course, is the hair. And so we have a lot of mixed information, we have a lot of misinformation, and then we have some information that we just didn't even get. And so what we want to do today is to have a healthy discussion. So of course, you guys can go back into your communities and your homes and use some of the information today to either help solve, maybe keep the conversation going. And then of course, bring about some solutions as it relates to image or just personal hygiene, because when it comes to Afro textured hair, we have so many misinformation, and Pam is going to be our moderator to help get you guys to kind of, just conjure up some of the things that you've heard, or maybe some things that you want to know about Afro textured hair, and just maybe some stuff that you thought was true and wasn't true. And as you look on the table here, Chrissy's going to kind of bring that camera around. We have iron, we have kerosene, we have some dirt, we have cornmeal, we have some sulfur, we even have some lard, we have a strip of cotton, and then we also have a brown paper bag. And a lot of this has to do with things that happened or that we used, our ancestors used on the plantation. But what do these things have to do with how we take care of our hair today as it relates to the right products, the right tools, and the right techniques? We'll be able to go into that. The think tank Plantation Beauty is inspired by this book by Dr. Willie Morrow, and we'll talk a little bit about him. This is also a documentary that you can watch for free. It's on YouTube. It's absolutely phenomenal. The book is also available. His daughter is going to be joining us virtually to help answer some questions as well. Our third panelist, he will be here momentarily. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Pam, who's going to moderate this discussion. It's interactive. It's a small group of us here, so get as much information out of it that you want, and then we'll take it from there. You also have a program. Do you have a program? Everybody has a program? Yeah, so the program is just to kind of help guide along, and you can also read about the panelists as we go along. And thank you guys so much. And give yourselves a round of applause for showing up. All right.
Peace and light, everybody. How you feeling?
Good.
I want to bring Sister Gwen to the table first, so that we do libation and give honor to our ancestors, which is protocol as we're talking about Black history and Black people and how we give honor to those who have gone before us. So, Sister Gwen.
We talk about honoring our ancestors and doing stuff. In order, we were supposed to ask the ancestor, the oldest person in the room, if we could begin. Since I'm the oldest person in the room, yeah, we can begin. Okay. Let's take a deep breath together as we honor this day and give thanks just because. Let us give gratitude and acknowledge our Native American families and friends whose ancestral homelands we walk upon. Let us honor the wisdom, love, and legacy of our African American ancestors and esteemed living elders. We invite the ancestors and their wisdom to guide us as we continue their legacy and as we create new paths of knowledge and wonder for the children of the village. We pour for the ancestors. Ashe?
Ashe.
We pour for the living elders. Ashe?
Ashe.
You can call out a name for somebody famous, or you in your family, or whatever. We're just going to call out
Cordell
the
Hubbard.
name. Yes. Yes. Mary Garth.
Johnny
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Morrow.
Yes.
Devere Wright.
Yes.
John.
Ashe. Yes.
Muhammad Ali.
Yes. Muhammad Ali. Yes.
Carter G.
Yes.
Woodson.
Yes.
Harriet Tubman.
To them all we give thanks.
John Henry Carter.
Ashe.
Yes. Ashe.
Francis Cress Wilson.
Ashe.
Sheikh Etta Yo.
Yes.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Michael Jackson.
Yes.
Ashe.
Prince.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Aretha Franklin.
Ashe.
Ashe. Yes. Ashe. Oh, there's so many.
Turbo Malone.
Yes.
Terry Hunter.
Let us thank ourselves. Thank the universe, the creator, whichever name you call him by, he or she. Right? Yes. We're just grateful today for a multitude of things, especially for this day.
Yes.
And we say, Ashe.
Ashe.
You feel it.
can get that here.
Yes, okay.
Good.
We all have a lot of things we don't tell everybody. Don't tell everybody everything.
We actually took a drumming class in Revolution 19, and I just don't recall, like, okay, and it was like very therapeutic, very soothing, so that was absolutely wonderful. All right, okay. So what we're going to do is explain to you how the program is going to go. We have 4 topics that we're going to discuss. And then, like I said, Pam is going to moderate. And it's really meant to be interactive. So we don't want to just sit up here and do all the talking. We want you guys to kind of, generate the discussion. And then myself, my colleague, Dr. Spritz, and Chill will be here in a moment. And then we have Cheryl Morrow is in the chat to help with the answers. So let me just go over a little bit. So what we're going to do is talk about hair care before, or just what happened. Pam again is going to question you guys about what do we think happened before we got here to this place called the United States. We'll talk about plantation hygiene. We're also going to talk about the living conditions. Again, we're just going to generate some discussion around that. And then we'll talk about some of these products and things that we see here on the table. We'll go into that a little bit. We're also going to address covering techniques of how we have to cover our head and planning and so on and so forth. And then we're going to begin to take the discussion in part 2 into modern day hairstyling and such topics as what is natural hair? What does that mean to you guys? Any questions that you may have about that. And I think that's about it. So Pam, if you want to just come on up and introduce the panelists, and we're ready. Hey, Cheryl, we see you in the chat. What's up, Cheryl?
Hey, Cleveland, what's up?
Yeah, that's what's up. Okay. All right. It's right there. So chill.
Oh, okay. So, welcome everyone to Golden Ciphers. But welcome. I want to just, hey Francis, I just look at that.
I know.
I just want to give honor to Ladosha for having the foresight, to continue to bring this type of energy to the forefront.
Yeah.
Because we get talked about our hair in all kind of different ways. And when we talk about trauma, we work with trauma, trauma and all that kind of stuff like that. Light-skinned people, you think you cute because you got good hair. What is good hair? Hair is hair. I cannot control, or people cannot control how we came out the womb. And your hair is nappy, whatever. That's like the best. Like, are you kidding? And I used to grow up trying to make my hair like an afro all the time. I want to be like, used to wear like dark makeup stuff, just for self-esteem, just trying to fit in. And I know a lot of people, we don't talk about these type of things, but it's real. And people, it's just real. Anyway, so thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.
For having to be able to have these type of conversations. So let's get going. Intro into plantation beauty. Would you like to start the discussion?
Yes, I'll get the discussion started. Before we do that, what I would like to do is have the panelists. I told you a little bit about myself, but I would like for Dr. Spritz to share with you guys a little bit about who he is and why you want to participate in this discussion, why you think it's important.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Spritz. I am a cosmetologist, professional artist. I do a couple of different things. Master of a lot, but practice just a few. But I've been working at Reverend's Design Team for over 20 years on and off campus. And this discussion right here kind of resonated with me because I'm a cosmetologist that have done all phases of hairstyling. So when it comes to the chemicals and the coloring, that's one area that I generate a lot of my clientele out of. And with this natural hair craze, it's been kind of a damper on my business. And I've been in situations where I've gotten into heated debates about what is natural hair and what I'm doing to the people when I don't do quote unquote natural hair. So as a stylist of 30 years plus, I think that I have a lot of insight on these topics, and I wanted to actually help with the discussion about it.
All right, let's get it up. All right, we got Cheryl Morrow in the chat. So Cheryl, you can share with us a little bit about who is Cheryl Morrow. It's about her, to be honest. We really couldn't have this discussion. So Cheryl, take it away.
I want to welcome everybody and thank you guys for spending this time with us. And like Dr. Spritz and Ladosha have stated before, this is a very important topic. Reason being is that I guess, if we understand each other about what we're talking about when it comes to Afrocentric beauty, it's important for us to, one, respect it, two, to respect everybody else's expression. And so it has been my ministry and, my calling, and not just my birthright, but it is very important that we as Afrocentric descending people get this conversation to the point where it's respectful, it's historic, it's culturally accurate, and we do not weaponize some of the terms that we have been using in that all Afrocentric expression of how the mother in the universe made us and how the young lady said how we come out of the womb, that all of those things are respected and they have a place on the planet. And so I'm just going to enjoy this conversation and this dialogue. And thank you guys very much. And Ladosha, I love you, and Dr. Spritz, and let's just go teach the world and learn and teach them how to respect themselves in the whole gamut, because Afrocentric beauty is big and all of us fits in it. And so thank you for inviting me.
Oh, thank you. We love technology all the way from San Diego, California. Let's give it up for Cheryl Morrow, aka Cheryl Morrow in the house. We're looking good on this camera, y'all. Make sure you get chill in there. So we have our third panelist, is Kevin. Chill her. We're just introducing ourselves so people can know who we are and why we want to be a part of this discussion about. It is Black History Month, by the way. And so I just want to say before Chill introduces himself, because he loves to say, I don't really know much about hair, but the reason why I like to have Chill be a part of the discussion, number one, because he was with us from the beginning, all right? So in the beginning, there was Chill, all right? Not like the best friend. But more importantly of all, as we know, we all like to wear these pieces, our unks, our Eye of Ra. Everybody is enamored with African history and antiquity. And a lot of times we get some things mixed up. But Chill is like such a enthusiast, very passionate about making sure we have our information correct. And this is one of the biggest reasons that we have so much misinformation about hair, is because what we think happened in antiquity. So Chill will be able to help us with that. He's also featured in our documentary the narrative. So without further ado, I'm going to have Kevin Chill introduce and tell you guys a little bit about himself and this wonderful Black History event.
All right, how is everyone doing today?
Doing good.
As Ladosha said, my BFF. It is Black History Month, and I would be remiss as an alumnus of Kent State University not to let you know that Black History Month was created at Kent State University.
Woo! Come on, y'all! Give it up!
Certainly, we know that Black History Week, formerly Negro History Week, was started by Carter G. Woodson. But as a month, the students, those students in the late 60s, early 70s, said that a week was just not enough time, and we're going to use an entire month. It caught on and it spread. So I'm proud to be from that lineage of students at Kent State University. As it says in the program, I've done a lot of things. I'm the immediate past president of the Greater Cleveland Association of Black Journalists. People might know me from my old school rap days as Cleveland's first national rap recording artist, MC Chill.
He was the backup dancer, is what we said. No, he wasn't.
Longtime journalist. I wrote for the Call and Post newspaper for almost 25 years. I'm currently the social equity journalist for theland.org, and I have recently returned from Egypt in October and will be heading back in 2 months in April. So not only do I study ancient Egypt, I am now twice a part of the Bentu tribe, and that's the brothers that been to Egypt. Anything that I can add about antiquities, specifically ancient Egypt and ancient Africa as well, I will be glad to do so. And I've learned so much just from hanging out with Sister Ladosha over here. Man, and she is a butterfly. I saw her come out of the cocoon and took flight. I'm so proud of her. But yeah, so that is my introduction. I'm sure I left something out, but we're gonna be all right.
All right.
Thank
okay.
you.
All right. Okay. All right. We do have some trivia. We got our trivia questionnaires in the back. So before we get started, just pick one random question. We have some gifts that you guys can win. So she's going to ask you guys. That's Christian back there. And we got some. Sorry, you guys in the chat won't be able to get it. You have to be here in person. So Christian, let's do trivia. And Tay's going to give up the gift, okay?
All right. So today's first trivia question is, what is the purpose of Black History Month? Takers, I saw you here first.
Yeah, to recognize the invention, the thing that we have given to not just the United States, the world.
Okay, I appreciate that. That's very similar to what I have here. Promote, educate people on Black history and culture.
All right.
Right.
Okay. All right. She gets the gift. Okay. All right. All right. We got to make sure that we all understand that, Black history, like Cheryl said, it's not just about a day or the shortest month of the year, right?
Right. It is for 365 days a year.
All right.
Every day.
365 days a year. And Carter G. Woodson also encouraged all of us to see ourselves, in Black history. So thank you so much for giving us that response, okay? All right, so we're going to get the conversation going, and we're going to start off with Afro-haircare in antiquity. So I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions, want to know a bunch of things. So let's get some questions started or just some conversations going about our hair in antiquity, before Christ, before all of this transatlantic slave trade. Now we know Africa is a large continent, and we have a lot of history, not just coming out of Egypt, but that seems to be a popular place where everybody likes. So in essence of time, and because the continent is so large, and of course, anybody in the chat, Chrissy is monitoring that. You guys can ask questions in the chat. So what questions do you guys have about hair care or just hair from back in the day in ancient Egypt?
I had the Oprah Winfrey.
I'm just wondering, like, you know, so how do you keep it clean? How do they have kept it clean? I know that there are like some herbs or something, like you can use tea tree oil, but did they know that too? Like, what was the main use of cleaning hair before, I don't know, civilization?
Before Christ?
Yeah.
Before colonization. Okay, I like that one. Now, so you've been over there. So did that ever come up? What was done to hair back then in the times of Nefertiti and all that?
Well, you know, from the information that I've gathered from studying ancient Egypt and actually being in Egypt, or as we should say, ancient Kemet.
Yes.
Well, currently is Egypt right now. Back then it was Kemet. So I went to Egypt. I wish I'd have been in Kemet. But I'll let people know this, and I was proud to, when Ladosha first went with me to the Cleveland Museum of Art, to their Egyptian gallery. They have combs, beauty products, mirrors, makeup that were in use thousands of years ago. So Black people, especially in ancient Kemet, didn't just start combing their hair and using perfumes and using beauty products and using makeup. In some instances, those people, those brothers and sisters of the Nile Valley created it, at least on that level. So we've always been using beauty products, pretty much invented wigs. You know, they found, now don't let them fool you. We found unwrapped mummies, some with their natural hair still intact, and some with their wigs that were used to mimic what their hair was actually like. So people of melanin of ancient history have always been a part of beautification of their hair, of their skin. And one thing that I always like to bring up, I think this was included in the documentary. There's even a stela of Nefertiti at the Cleveland Museum of Art, and her hair is blue.
What?
So we've also colored our hair in ancient times. And just to add a quick fact that the people of ancient Egypt, Kemet, invented the color blue as far as the chemical color blue. The blue had not been, yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
All right, so I look at the history of things and I look at today's practices in the industry of hair care. And I know in America, or primarily in Ohio, the state board regulation and board was established, I believe, in the 30s. So was there a regulation or some type of order in place from back then that gave guidance?
I don't know that, but I will tell you that they probably followed a pattern that was thousands of years old. A lot of the skill sets were passed down through lineage, just as the scribes taught their sons to be scribes. And I'm sure the people who were in charge of the beautification process, it was known as an art. So it was schools you studied to be a master craft person of those things. So I don't know if Ladosha may have some extra information. I would just like to say that this was something that went on for thousands of years, that these people studied to be the absolute best at the level that they could be.
Okay, Cheryl, might you be able to add to hair care in antiquity and maybe the standard of excellence? Do you know, can you speak to that a little bit?
Well, let's, if I understand his question, beauty from an Afro-centric perspective is not just an act. It wasn't an act like in the Western world, a business or an activity. Beauty is a worship. Beauty comes from out of the law of observation. It is a marriage to you and the environment. It's like a celebratory activity upon the body. You watch what how nature paints the environment. Well, you do the same to yourself. And it's a symbiosis kind of, it's a symbolism of how balanced you are in the environment, with the environment, and with yourself. Those almost actually akin to a religion, almost, and obviously, because hygiene had nothing to do with hygiene. It was a spiritual hygiene. And I think that is that spiritualness that we could apply today. It's ironic that he would mention the word order, because it wasn't order, like a degree, an order that, very high humanistic elevation was the art of beauty. Absolutely.
Okay.
If that answers this question.
Yeah. Another question right here, brother.
Okay. All right. And I will repeat the question. So, Cheryl, so that you can hear the questions as well. Okay.
My question is, can you give me like four basic products they used on the hair care back in the day?
Okay.
What kind of substance they put on, what kind of, we got Afro-sheen, we got this, that, and the other thing. But what were they using? Basically, material were they using on hair care back then?
Yeah, I can't give you that exact information, but I do know that they have found various natural oils that they used, and dyes that they made. And I believe the people of ancient Kemet will also affect hair texture. So they were also the original hair. I can't tell you that, but maybe Ladosha or Cheryl can.
Sure, they were using waxes, definitely for like forming hair. Also, they definitely use various types of, like oils for sure. In addition, they also had some concoctions that they were making using such things as like dirt, plantain leaves. You have soap making. All of this stuff was coming out of Africa. Now, this is not to say that these types of practices were not taken. Sure, in that part of the world, they were definitely using resources from the earth. And a lot of people, when you think of using resources from the earth, they don't think that any type of chemical reaction or something that was man-made, could come out of nature. But for sure, we know for a fact that the soap making, that whole saponification, came from using wood chips. It also came from using plantain leaves. It also came from animal fat. They used a lot of animal fat. Kofi Pasa also spoke to even using, excrements from animals, pollens from like plants and things of that nature. So they were using a lot of resources from the earth, from animals in nature to concoct and make various wigs and creating resin so that things could stick together and form. So that's my understanding. Cheryl?
Well, we have the red dirt from one region of Africa. We have different trees that create sap that they use as glues. We have different flowers like the hibiscus and the lavender flower that they make color out of. If you just go back to all the different regions, it's a predominant flower, predominant tree. You have water in some of the regions, so you're going to get different minerals out of the water. Most of those things we actually use because they were natural. That's where we were.
Okay. All right. Okay.
There's obviously a delay, but I think I get the gist of.
You said the pyramid. Now you hear about people on the walls. Yes, you did that inside the pyramid.
Yes.
Okay. Inside the walls, they showed certain nationalities as being the rulers and certain nationalities as being the enslaved or the servers. What was your observation? What they look like? Were they, some of them had like pink skin, but I think they had brown skin.
Nobody has pink skin.
There's some people out there. Okay, well, I don't want y'all to go.
I mean, not on the walls. I'm saying,
I'm not saying
this is why people.
You understand what I'm saying? Elizabeth Taylor being Patrick.
Yeah,
they have pink skin.
I believe that the glyphs that you're talking about are referred to as the Table of Nations, and it's a, I guess, in some ways a misnomer. What it's not talking about different nations, but it's more different tribes and ethnicities that are in the area of the people of ancient Kemet, the Nubians, the people of Kemet, the people from Libya.
Looking like what now? Okay, you say a Nubian. Okay, I didn't hear that. I didn't hear something.
Okay, well, we're going to cut to the chase on this.
Okay.
Uh-oh, here we go.
And I just want to remind you, and anybody hears me or the people who I rock with or studies and Ladosha will tell you, first of all, race is a social construct. There is no of Africa originating. Yes. So it also has the most diversity. So on the continent of Africa, we have light-skinned people, we have brown-skinned people, we got blue, black people, tall people, short people. So we have a variety of people and skin tones. Yeah. And I'll tell you this, and I saw this for myself, and I've learned this from even dealing with people who deal with genetics and DNA. When you're in northern Egypt, say I was as far up north as Cairo. For one, the neighbors in the northern Egypt, your neighbors are Libyans to the west, and you might want to call them Asiatic or people of the Levant area to the north. So they're lighter skinned people. The indigenous people of ancient Kemet in the north are going to be lighter complexion. In the south, which they call Upper Egypt, because as you know, the Nile River runs from south to north. So the southern part is Upper Egypt. When you get to Aswan, those brothers and sisters are dark. But so the native people of Kemet ranged in color themselves. They're not a homogeneous color. They weren't in antiquity. They're like your neighbors. There's no wall to stop the deep dark brothers from Nubia coming over and parlaying. But there's all, I tried my best to okay, y'all are with me on that, right?
We got it.
But there's also nothing to stop their northern neighbors from coming over and doing the same thing, crafts and trades and hooking up. So people are going to look like their neighbors, and further north, you're further away from the equator, and further south, you're closer to the equator, which is also going to be a change in your skin tone. But real quick, to answer your question, when you see the representation of the people on the walls, I don't want you to be fooled by that, because the people of ancient Kemet, they had a construct for, I'll use the word art. They don't really have a word for art, because what they draw, what they write is part of their life. It's that order that Sister Morrow talked about. It's and they show women as pale for the most part. Regardless of whether the women were blue, black, jet black, that's just their function and style of art. So now you will see some of the deities, such as Osiris. We know this is Greek name, Osar or Osir. Sometimes he will be jet black, but sometimes he will also be green, because it symbolizes the nature, the fertility of the land. And the blackness of them represents the deep, dark soil. It's something that stands out. If you ever go to Kemet, you see the soil. It's like this deep, dark, rich soil. So Osiris or Asar or Seer in his other form is jet black. But they will show the people that are to the south of them, which we would loosely call the Nubians, as dark-skinned people. So all I'm saying is that we come in lots of shades. We have currently, and we did in the past.
All right. Okay, Cheryl, did you want to add anything to that? We're going to take another question as we talk about what was used in antiquity. Did you want to add to that?
And of course, it was a deep question,
Sure.
but he hit it, and I think that to simplify, unfortunately, the colors juxtaposed on human beings, we think in terms of race. You know, color is a vibrational spectrum, and so our ancestors is trying to teach us about, let's just say, like the color green. That's a vibration that brings about a different essence of understanding. They're trying to tell you something with the color green. But unfortunately, we do racialize it, and it's unfortunate. But it's a kind of loaded question that I think takes time to explain. But you guys can go into a different question.
Okay. All right. We have another question. Thank you, Cheryl. Okay, another question. Okay, go ahead. You can go.
All right. My mother came from West Virginia, and she had a thing about making sure you either burned your hair or you flushed it. My mama didn't play that. So she had a thing about the comb, not using other people's comb, and being careful who touched your hair. Because growing up, and she had good hair. And so and I always wondered where that came from, because it was a strict thing. My mother did not believe in throwing away her hair. It got burned or flushed, and that was how I was raised. I still, to this day, now I don't flush it because of the environment thing, but I do, burn it. So I just was wondering where that came. I'm going to hear things like the birds that get your hair and you'll get a headache. And I mean, she was I just wondering where that came. Because even now, I mean, if I let somebody do my hair if I go to, I'm gonna look at the people. Nobody just, not just anybody gets to cut my hair or even touch my hair, you know. So I'm just wondering if you know where they could have came from, because that was such a strong thing as a kid, you know.
All right. Okay, well, we're bringing it back and forth, but in antiquity, was that a practice or anything of burning hair, or do you know anything about that?
I do not.
Cheryl, do you have a response to that?
Your hair is your aura, and so you can't let people throw your hair away or put their hands in your hair. And like I was basically saying, we believed in aura, AURA hygiene, not oral hygiene, aura hygiene, spiritual hygiene. And I think that West African tradition is to keep your energetic, spiritual, or aura hygiene very clean. So the hair was, and for someone to possess your hair possesses your essence. And so there's a lot of folklore and suspicion and, superstition, but that is one of the, and, you know, I truly have had, and my aunts and uncles do that and say that very same thing. But as they put the comb inside of the hair and let it sit there, and that energy in that talisman. So the head seat, or the God seat, your head, is where your essence is. So there's a lot of superstition around hair because it possesses your spirit. Did you guys get that?
All right. Okay, thank you. And Spritz, did you want to add something to that?
Oh, I was just saying that how on the piggyback is by getting a strand of your hair, so they could put a spell on you, or they can help with what they say, the curing of your ailments by having a piece of essence of you. So the strongest part of you was a part of you. Okay. So your hair would be a part of you. I mean, unless you just want to give them a finger or something. But,
Okay. All right. Any questions in the chat, Christy, for us? All right. So we're looking. So everybody in the chat, thank you so very much. That's a very rich question. And as you can see, it has various meanings of why Africans and African Americans, burned their hair and used it for various purposes. So any more questions in antiquity as we get ready to move forward on to the plantation beauty? Okay, question back there.
It's not a question. I just wanted to add to the fact that when we were talking about pigments and dyes and stuff, those were the same types of materials that the artists did use to paint with. They were natural stuff from the ground, from the dirt. That's why you really didn't have as many colors as we do now.
Well, I do want to add that they did use natural colors, but as I said, especially in ancient Kemet, they were chemists. Right. They created through a scientific process, through chemicals, different colors, and that's how the color blue was created. And a lot of those, if you go to museums, and you can still even in Kemet, when I went there, a lot of the tombs and the temples still had their natural coloring on it. And when I say natural, their original color, because some of the things we would use for coloring natural fruits and berries are biodegradable. They're not still going to be there after 4,000 years. Their color's going to be gone.
That's true.
So we during that time, created a way to chemically create a reaction, a synthesis of factions that created colors. And it had never been done, such as the color blue, like I said. And they still, to this day, call it Egyptian blue. It had never been created. Excuse me? No. This is, and I can look up the scientific process that they went through to come up with, but it included fire, and like even lapis lazuli, but different stones. They took them through a process to make a color. So it's just not a natural, like you crushed up some blueberries. I don't think blueberries are natural or native to Kemet, but you know what I'm saying? If they use blueberries, that blue wouldn't still be on the wall 6,000 years later.
I think one of the things, and sure, maybe you could speak to that, is that what we want you guys to definitely see is that the beautification process was not something that we just did in the kitchen. Everybody could not just do this. And so what we hear a lot in the world of beauty is that you can go into your home and use something in nature to create something for your hair. And when you listen to what all of us have said, we hope you guys are walking away that this was a high skill set that had an order and a purpose, and it was not to be as commercialized as we see it today. Any comments on that, Spritz?
No, I think you hit it straight on the head.
Okay, Cheryl, any comments on that?
Well, like the brother said, you know, chemistry, you know, they it's a very play on words. You know, the suffix istry, the reason why that's there is because everything is a mystery. And when you don't study the components, you know, certain information, it always remains down through the ages of time a mystery. And so chemistry, and like achieving the color spectrum, it does take an innate initiation information to be able to come up with these energetic colors within the spectrum, because, you know, the nature makes chromosomes. Then you get DNA from there, but nature makes chromosomes, and chroma means color. And color, it has an energy element to it. And so that is that fascination and that satiation with color, because it is quite a mystery, and it has all of the components, biology, chemistry, and all the other alchemic principles applied to it. So color is very in depth. So Ladosha, being a colorist, is quite an ancient art. Absolutely.
Yeah. And in the industry of cosmetology and barbering, that so far remains one of the highest, you know, disciplines that we can, you know, use in our career. And it is truly a skill set that requires ongoing. So in synchronicity and with all due respect to what was happening in antiquity, not that we are holding those rigors that to that high standard that they had in antiquity. Again, the purpose of the plantation beauty discussion is for you all to really kind of capture and take yourselves back in a time when this was not something that just anybody did. It was truly passed down. And even when I visited West Africa, I think about policing. In Senegal, in the Gambia, you know, everybody couldn't just become a police officer. You have to live in the community. You probably had to be born into that position, and it's passed down in your family, so that it's not that anybody could do that. So we could still see some of those practices being played out in modern day times, where not just anybody could, you know, do these types of things. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the plantation, but before we do that, let's get another trivia question. So we got some giveaways for our trivia, and if any questions come in the chat, Chrissy, just let us know. Okay. All right. So we got Christian here with another trivia and a giveaway.
All right. Next trivia question is, who founded Black History Month? Talked about that a little earlier, if you guys remember.
All right. We got a hand up right here.
All right. I saw Miss Renee first.
Okay, well, we'll start with Black History Week, which was Carter G. Woodson. And then MC Chill just told us it was Kent State University, Black students at Kent State University involved into a month.
All right. Okay,
Yeah.
she took it all the way. Okay. All right, that's a layered answer now. It's not
I
something
think Brother Vince might have been one of those students that started it. No, you didn't start Black History Month.
I ain't that old.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Any more questions about hair care and antiquity before we move forward? We're doing pretty good here.
I have a question.
Sure.
As a woman who suffers with alopecia, I'm wondering if that's something that's a modern day thing, or was that also, could you find women with thinning hair in antiquity and on the plantation?
Cheryl, might you be able to answer that one?
Absolutely. Even though probably in the plantation, it was taboo. But what happens also, there's so many subsequent social and, of course, environmental causes just due to lack of us having, the biological appropriate kind of lifestyle that we are or were accustomed to prior to the transatlantic trip. But they most likely had different variations in causes at that time that are not present or that are present in our lifestyle today. In our lifestyle and diet was quite different. The conditions were different. The time to beautify was different. And as we will discuss those differences, and maybe you will find a little more information on that question as we proceed.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I just want to let you guys know we do have complimentary hot dogs. We also have popcorn, pasta salad, and water. And so someone is going to come around and just kind of whisper, what would you like? And we're going to serve it to you. This is the tradition of what we do here at the African Know Thyself think tank. And all you have to do is let them know what your Grum Bellies desires, and we will make sure we get that to you so you do not have to get up. And in essence of time, we're just going to keep going. We're going to move right into the discussion. Now we're going to go into into hair on the plantation. We're going to need you guys to make some notes to help keep us going. So Spritz will be our note taker. So we just want to know, what do you guys think happened to our hair? Now, Cheryl's father authored the book, 400 Years Without a Comb. And so we'll use this as our guide. And Cheryl will definitely be able to help give you guys some rich depth insight on this topic. So let's get some conversations going. What happened on the plantation with hair? I like to start by the word nappy. So I always think that is a term that just kind of stirs my soul. Something about the word nappy just kind of gets that one for sure. You guys get the conversation on the plantation. We go around with the thing.
The art of hair as a science as well as an interest. So knowing the people will pull.
Hopefully they come back in.
me is when you had in America those areas that were of blessings or of benefit, a lot of the times there were those who came and they destroyed what you.
Let's see if we can get a better connection.
Or their materials are destroyed, then there are still those in the community that experience the expertise that those people who may have got killed or however the dysfunction happened, they remember.
So you're saying on the plantation, you think our materials were destroyed? All right, okay, all right. We got another one right here.
Okay, knowing how strongly braids are in our culture, I think that when they were brought over to America, that continued, the braids continue. Apparently, the dreadlocks, those things, they probably couldn't use the same thing that they used in Africa as far as moisturizer, but I feel pretty confident that they continue to braid their hair.
So braiding took place on the plantation. Okay, all right. Mother Gwen.
I'm like, what's his brother's name right there again?
Chill. Chill.
Chill, yeah. I'm like, yeah, let's get real. First of all, they had to shake that shit off.
You had to shake what off? What shit they had to shake
Coming
off?
from there, from the kids there, they had to shake it off. And I believe that the those who still held their spirituality was a big help in bonding and getting so we could get back to who we are. Cause you looking at that had to be a hell of a trip now.
Mm-hmm. So what do you say? So what happened? You got to give me you think they were able to keep the hairstyles or they had to, what happened on this plantation? What do you think happened?
A lot of building up of their self-esteem had to be built up.
So she think a lot of building of self-esteem
had to get regrounded
about our hair on the plantation.
About ourselves,
Mm-hmm. Okay, and ourselves, period.
Yeah.
Hair and self. We got it of hair and self. Okay, the lovely, the illustrious, the one and only who I admire so much, my fellow butterfly. She knows what I'm talking about. Sophie, what happened? What happened on the plantation?
So mutual. I would say this is kind of a guesstimate, but culture is such a huge thing that relates to our hair and different tribes and things of that nature. Those stories, it had a lot of different information about different aspects of us. So I would say that transitioning to the plantation, they probably weren't allowed to do a lot of those things. Probably weren't allowed to design their hair in certain ways. Probably weren't allowed to maybe even take a certain amount of time with their hair. So I feel like a part of us was lost.
So you feel like nothing happened and we lost something.
I feel like we lost something, but then at the same time, mentioning the braids, you can hear utilize braids to still tell stories. Escaping from the plantation, they would utilize putting messages in their braids. So even though a lot was lost, I feel like it was transmuted into something, just being creative, like being creative to utilize the braids and what they knew to hold on to a sense of language.
All right, so braids was so we think that a lot of braiding took place on the plantation. Okay, any other? Go ahead, Sister Pam.
Add something to the braids. I don't know, I didn't hear the beginning part, but also with rice and different, they planted and they braided rice so that when they got to wherever they were going, they could be able to plant their own food. See, that's another thing. And there's a book, one of my friends has it, that talks about that as well, where using hair to be able to transport things so they'll be able to. Nobody heard?
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, I'll be grabbing the book for you.
All right, okay. So we're gonna go with the panelists. We're gonna help you guys clear some of this up. and give you guys a clear understanding. And again, a lot of information is coming out of Dr. Willie Morrow's book, 400 Years Without a Calm. And again, you have myself, Kevin Hubbard, Dr. Spritz, and Cheryl Morrow as your panelists to help with the conversation. So we got braided hair and putting rice in the hair that was braided. And rice and seeds. Thank you so much. All right. Anything? What else was happening on this plantation?
Well, they also use the hair as a map, so people would know what direction to escape to. So that was another thing that they used. The braids was used as a map and to tell a story. We tell them where they were going to go to, you know.
Okay, hold up here. Let me just this here. Okay. So, there we go. All right. Okay, there we go. All right. Okay, so we have using braids. You said as a map.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we got using braids as a map. Okay, and then we had someone, Kiki, you had what happened in antiquity? I mean, I'm sorry, on the plantation.
I do have, I don't know, this just came in thought, like going back into like maybe marking a child or tattooing. I believe that maybe in certain tribes, if they lose their children, they'll mark their child. Even when over here on the plantation, as far as maybe a child being taken away, they'll mark their child, you know, as far as I'm talking about maybe like slavery,
Okay,
you know, or
so you
different
think they were
tribes.
marking their children?
I think that certain tribes believe in marking their children.
Now this is on the plantation.
Okay, on
Right.
plantation,
Yeah, we're on the
or
plantation.
maybe coming from being pregnant on the boat or coming off the boat going to the plantation. I believe certain mothers mark their children just in case if they see them, you know, in the future if they live to see them.
Wow.
I believe maybe they have marked their children and if they see them, they'll, you know, something behind the ear or something that the master wouldn't recognize on the child.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, we'll take one more and then we're gonna get the panelists involved. Okay?
Yeah.
What happened on the plantation?
Well, the key was you have a people of beauty, and the thing of the plantation is they did not want you to feel good about yourself. They didn't allow you to have the education, and they want to take away things that would keep you motivated and something of beauty inspired. So it was taken from you intentionally, and anyone who showed how to read or write or even beautify was probably destroyed, because those are things that make people feel better. And if a person don't want you to rise or don't want you to feel better about yourself, they're going to take away from you the things that will improve you or make you feel better.
So you feel like they were punished?
Well, not punished, but I think it was more of a system of control. If I can take you out of the area of development, then you would probably have to come to me to feel better about something. So it was a source of control to take that science from our people of beautification and knowledge and things like that. It was all about control.
All right. Okay. All right. So Cheryl, we're gonna swing this back around. So here we go. We're just gonna recap. These are some very powerful feedback about what we think happened. So for certain, we have some punishment and by way of controlling what we could and could not do, use and not use. We also have marking. Perhaps some of our ancestors were marking their children in hopes that maybe if they saw their kid in the future, they would be able to identify because okay. So plate and rice not also it's I guess. And then we lost a lot of our cultural stuff. And also, Queen Mother said we lost ourselves and our ability to do our hair. Many also feel that braids and locks were also able to be achieved on the plantation. Then our materials were destroyed, and our with the term
Sorry, guys. Hope they'll be back in.
And I did really want one. But that was one that I'm just thinking now. That was one of the reasons I didn't.
all right. So we'll get Cheryl to come on with that because we're having all this technical difficulty. So the question on the other side, Cheryl, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can. You guys had a great connection, but when you turn it back on the panel,
they want to know.
Okay, perfect.
Can you share any information that you may have about braids being used as mats, as escape routes, and to plant rice and seeds? I'm sorry, to transport rice and seeds to be used later.
I think you guys know how horrific that trip was, and how I believe that the stories, especially those two, are sensationalism. I don't think it's historically possible or accurate, because one of the things that you have to understand that our people did not have land to plant anything. And so, and when you think
that,
about
our people did not. Chrissy, can you help with that? Can you repeat that?
Cheryl, can you repeat that, please?
Yes, I wanted to just be able to say that the complete displacement, transplanting of a complete people, you did not come with anything, absolutely anything. You only came with your soul. You only came with your body. And so some of the things I believe that have been added, like planting or carrying food inside braids, or having nautical compass inside in directions inside of the braiding patterns. And just in my study have been quite in depth. And I think that is a little bit of sensationalism. But to have and transport seeds, you have to have land. We did not have land. you were on someone else's land. And so, so that's just basically, I think it's a little sensationalism, but you are talking about a people who are void of absolutely nothing.
Okay. So that shows opinion on it. My understanding is that that is a narrative that comes out of the South Americans' experience in the slave trade. That is nothing that we've seen or read in any of, let's say, like the slave captors. They never told any of these types of, we caught some slaves, you know, with this. So in North America, I don't think that narrative would hold true. I'm not from South America, but it is definitely a oral story that's been told in South America. I believe the story originated in the New York Times, where this woman shared this oral story with a reporter, and it's readily available, you know, for you guys to read. But in history, have you children anything? Not that they document everything, we know that, but
It's like Cheryl said, she suggested that a lot of what we have heard about it has been sensationalized. I hadn't heard any definite information, but more surface information that was something. But as Ladosha knows, you know, we deal with, you know, primary sources when it's possible, or even secondary sources, to kind of get at the root of where that information came from. So I mean, I can believe that was sensationalized because it sounds sensational to me. I wish it was something that we were able to do, but definitely something that I personally will look into some more.
I probably think that, like what they were saying, like what she just said, South America and North America, and how she just said, when we brought over here, when you look at the history of how we were transported and what we had and how we were sold and what we were sold in, I mean, it's no way. They really tried to like take everything away from us. The only what they say, the only ones to survive was the strongest out of the bunch, and everybody else either died or they were murdered because they felt they wasn't strong. So those strong, so those the strongest, what they have on, a tarp here, a cloth there, a loin cloth there. I mean, they didn't get clothes and stuff until they got to the slave master's house. So when you think about that, like, when did they get to wash their hair? You know, when did they get to groom themselves? So when you start talking about them escaping and them running away, they didn't prepare to escape. They didn't prepare to run away. They might have talked about, but right. I mean, they didn't have enough time. How I'm going to prep this woman's hair to braid so somebody else can look at it so they can find the route to the next place. Like, that's not. I mean, that's coming. Just think about it. We didn't all went through what they taught us as histories, but I mean, if we didn't try to study anything extra, we know that it was not possible. I mean, we was hiding up under bushes and stuff. Like I'm braiding somebody's hair up or locking it up, and I'm throwing some seeds in it. I mean, it's really not for us. Not
for you. You find out a little bit.
Yeah, not for the slave trade and us coming from Africa through all the different the Pan-African trade and all that. No, maybe the transatlantic or the indigenous people that actually were able to map out, because they had land and they could so over this mountain and through this valley and on this tree right here that I drew up in your head. Then you pass this cattle right here and this is me the corn, and then now we can find our way. But that mean they traveling, they are exploring, you know what I'm saying? They're migrating, but I don't see that with the Africans through the slave trade.
Okay. So that remains a little
So
questionable.
we're saying that the Underground Railroad didn't exist?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. What I'm saying is that those people, I didn't say that. What I said is those people that actually did the slave trade and those different things, they had other things that they were looking at, landmarks. They had different cattle and stuff. Being able to prep a person's head, knowing our growth pattern, knowing the different things that we are doing, how our hair, how our body regenerates itself. I don't see that to be possible. And then not only that, they didn't have the tools.
Well, if I can just interject.
To braid or comb hair.
Oh, okay.
They didn't have tools. We were shipped off in cages, and we were boo-booing and peeing on each other. Hygiene didn't happen until we got to the plantation. So even when we got to the plantation, they were hosing us off and throwing buckets of water on us. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't giving us soap. All those different things we made as we got the food to prepare for the slave masters and stuff, and we took the slop and extra stuff back home for us to prepare for ourselves. Those different things we didn't have the resources that we had in Africa, so we couldn't make all the soaps and different things like that straight off. So I mean, coming straight from off of the boat and everything. I mean, if you look at all our history, we were made to suffer.
All right. Okay, Cheryl, you were gonna say? Thank
you. Well, you have to remember, we did not have to rely on hairstyles to orient our body. We sailed the 7 seas. We were maritime masters. We could just look up at the moon and stars and sun. We didn't have to look at anyone's head. We knew what east, west, and north and south was. So those sensationalistic, impressionistic things may come out of the bourgeoisie, but you're talking about masters of area and compass. We had a compass in our brain. That was not the point. And I think that this discussion is so much more important to understand that we were not a Nautilus and maritime masters. We understood directional. We didn't need quite maps. So certain things are just sensationalism. And so I agree with the panelists.
Okay, go ahead, comment.
All right, so I would want to make a blanket statement just to make a clarity, because I know the frame and the lens in which things are being driven. Everyone will feel like they were a part, but everyone didn't directly suffer the condition of the slave trade. There were families that were already in America that did never have slavery as a part of their vocabulary or family's fabric. So like today, because the thing is, we're painting pictures of things that have occurred. The more you are aware, the better you can kind of like figure out the space we're discussing in. So today there's sex trafficking, and the numbers are up in the millions of things that happen. So let's get back in a little bit and kind of be a lot more grounded with what's being given here. On the plantations, there were conditions that people were trying to control Black people. So they had to use certain things to take away from them, keep them under a mind control. That wasn't all of America, that was not all of Black people. It was the certain areas that allowed that to happen. So we have to free ourselves from everyone feeling like everyone did it. Everyone did it.
So in your opinion, essence of time, are you saying that you feel like the braids were used as maps?
hair. I mean, it's individual experience, just like we're having today. We're all on the same thing, and it'll never be that way because we're individuals. We're made of all individual journeys. That's just my opinion.
Right. Okay. So we just you had another. I was going to piggyback off of that. We were talking about different slaves and experiences because everybody thinks slaves pick cotton, different slaves did sugar. You know, the Louisiana, and then from the Mississippi slaves, and then from the, Alabama slaves, the Texas slaves, they all had different crops. So I do believe different tribes come from different areas from, where this, where the water came. So, trying to experiment certain different things. So we go ahead and
OLNEC. They left huge busts that were dated 5,000 years ago, and they came from West Africa. And the pyramids in South America, the pyramids that they give the Aztecs credit for, the Olmecs built those. So they're carbon dated around the same time, before the Aztecs came around. So a lot of Africans were already here, and they, based on the headdress of these big busts, if you look it up, some of them had cornrows, some of them had these little hat things on, and they trace those back to Ghana. But there are some tribes in Ghana that still wear these little things with these busts. And these busts are like 20 feet high, 20 feet wide, and they found them underground. So these Africans were letting the world know that we were already here. And then Mansa Musa, we're doing a thing on him next week at the museum. He sent his brother to America with 200 ships loaded with African people, and these ships never came back. And Mansa Musa is from Mali, which is on the west coast of Africa. So there's a lot of documentation already here.
all right. And we are going to move on to the next one. So forgetting is that the professional, we adapted this happen given what happens here as out, the tools and so on and so forth. And like Cheryl said, the land, like how are they going to actually plant this? But the public feels like the slave experiences during slavery, prior to slavery, and different parts that maybe it could have happened. Cheryl's going to give the last comment. I'll be spotting her, and then we'll keep the conversation moving.
Yeah, I don't want to be disagreeable.
No, it's a panel, it's a discussion.
But I do want to offer just a little pushback, and this is a much larger conversation about those Olmec heads. One thing I want to suggest is that
Jesus fucking Christ.
I've read many of the books concerning that. Certainly, I've read the works of Dr. Ivan van Sertima, which was one of the main proponents. I'm just saying that I would offer that the people of America and those represent their ethnicity, representing. I know you're saying no. And I'm saying
we gotta look at them.
If you look at them, they.
Okay, this gonna be the last thing I say. Because we're gonna move on. This gonna be the last thing I say before we move on.
Good.
But what I'm saying is, I do want to tell you this, that the worst type of scientific study is what it looks like. Like we call that lookership. You just can't. It's more to studying than just looking at something and say. Because I'm here to tell you that you can also look at the natives of South America and find those who are definitely not of African heritage, who genetically are tied to the people of South America and not to Africa, who also look like those stone Olmec heads.
All right, one more thing, okay? This is getting a little, woo, I like these. Come on, let's give it up. Let's give it up for the audience, all right? Y'all doing good, okay? All right, okay.
Things all over the world. These statues, these heads. Why are they all faced the same way?
Okay, well, let me ask you a question. So we're doing the Socratic method.
Why are they all faced the same way?
What I would suggest is you tell me where those stone heads are in Africa. Where are the stone heads that look just like the Olmec heads? Where are the ones in Africa? And I'll push back on the Abubakar traveling from Mali to North America. But I'm not here to make friends, just to share.
Okay, one pause. Does Cheryl have any comments on that?
Do you have any comments?
Let me just add this. And I'm going to take my time with this. In trying to separate the wheat from the shaft in terms of our presence and where we were and who not. You know, the North American phenomenon of what we call African-American beauty in the North America, that personality came through the slave trade, not the ones who were here before, okay? But I will say that this conversation can get quite out of context, and because the connection is always inconsistent, and so I don't know if I picked up most of the conversation. But I would like to say, for lack of a better word, that the brother mentioned earlier, the lack of a better word called African. Africa is what we call genetic Africa. It doesn't make a difference. There is no one way to look African. Mother gives you chromosomes, and the gene expression will give you straight hair and dark skin, light skin, and curly hair. It gives you, it just doesn't, it expresses so diverse. Straight hair does not belong to Europeans. It's not a European trait. It's an African trait. It just expressed recessively. And so once we get it out of, like the people say, you know, like the brother said, lookership, because you cannot dictate or identify an African trait or African phenotype or African feature by the way it looks, because the gene expression will give you anything. Messing around with Mother Africa, she'll give you anything. You think, you know, so the gene expression is so unfathomable. It will give you so different things. And I think that the question is not the Olmec head. The question is the stone cutting technique. That's what gives it the feature that looks similar, because when anthropologists look at a stone head, it may not deal with the features. It may deal with the technique of how they cut that stone, which may be of African in nature.
Right there. All right, so we kind of got where we're going with a little anthropological process.